So who is Morgan International? We are a leading training institution. We've been in business for more than 25 years, and as a result, we have more than 150,000 alumni. So those of you that have some knowledge about the education sector, if you were to compare with some Ivy League colleges, you'd find that this is top tier of the number of professionals that we produce out there in the industry, and it's a testament to the great work that we are doing. We have more than 350 experts, certified instructors. Now, the kind of instructors that we work with as Morgan International is we do not just look for people who have knowledge, people who have wisdom, but we look at people that have experience in the industry, because we know that some of you have 10, 15, 20 years of experience in the industry. So it's very difficult now when you're merging something that's coming from a textbook perspective with something that's happening out there in the field. There are certain things that you need to do to make things work. So as industry professionals, this is something that you definitely appreciate from our instructors in assisting you. And we are present in more than 28 locations worldwide. What does this mean for you? If you have companies, right, and you have your own employees that need to be trained, if you're going to be relocating to a different area, chances are you are going to find a Morgan office that is close to you, that will be able to support you, relate with you, and speak the language that you understand, that you are, so that you are able to get your certification. And we look at this as a lifelong relationship, not just for us assisting you for a few months whilst you take up your certification. All right. So what other work do we do other than just the CFA? We work in finance and accounting, providing training in human resources, supply chain, digital marketing. Some of the courses we provide are the CFA, CPA, CMA, the PIFA, and the likes. SHRM, the certified professional, and the senior certified for professional, and the CDMP, amongst a whole host of other certification. So if you'd like information regarding to any of these other topics in the future, feel free to get in touch with our offices or with myself directly. We'll be very happy to assist you with that. So this is some of the partners that we've worked with over the years. Obviously, we could not completely exhaust. So if we've worked with your company and it's not appearing from there, please do not get upset at us. Our screen is very limited, so we could not share everything, but we're very appreciative of your support and your continual presence. And we expect to continue doing business and work with you going into the future. So about the CFA charter, right? This is basically the gold standard when you're looking at investment. When you're looking at globally, how you do business, when you look at the fundamental topics that have to be discussed, how you are able to evaluate your investments, your companies, your business, whether you're doing an acquisition, whether you're doing a merger, whether it's simple stock buybacks, or if you are putting your money as a venture capitalist, there are certain fundamentals that you need to understand. These days, there's been the emergence of technical analysts, right? So you're going to find a lot of people following the market, seeing and making predictions on what is going to happen in the future. But when you're looking at a CFA charter holder, now the idea behind being a CFA charter holder is being able to beat the market. So when everybody else figures out in a week's time or in 2 weeks' time or 2-3 days later how they expect the trend to flow, as a fundamental analyst, you should have figured it out in advance and have already taken up a position, whether it's a put, or you've made a purchase. If you're going long, if you're going short, those are the kind of things that you should be able to make an investment decision before the rest of the market figures it out. So that's the idea behind being a CFA charter holder, being able to beat the market, so to speak, both in the short run and the long run. Although we do know that you will not be perfect in this, but this is something that we strive to make sure that you become. So these skills that you're going to be taught as a CFA charter holder are unmatched in the level of expertise. This is because of the in-depth knowledge that you are going to be taught. Now, because of this knowledge and what has happened previously in finance and investment, a lot of people have been have abused the powers or the knowledge that they have, taking advantage of the, their wisdom, right? Of the information that they have. So it's very important for you to have a very strong ethical foundation. And later on, when we talk about the breakdown of the certification, how they are going to be examining you as a candidate, you're going to see how much emphasis the CFA Institute places on this ethical foundation. Okay, so you also become part of a prestigious network. When you're looking at the number of charter holders, they are extremely limited. You are looking at roughly around 167,000 professionals globally out of the entire investment bucket. So you can imagine the number, the millions of investment professionals that are out there, but you are a part of this select group of CFA charter holders. So just the mere fact of you putting up um, that those characters after your name already opens up doors of opportunity for you that other people do not have access to. Some companies even require you just to have CFA level 1, for you to be able to qualify to be promoted. Okay, so this is something that you're going to get out of this certification. So you also get global recognition for your certification. For those of you that are coming from some countries where you then have to prove that your, which is most countries, that you need to prove the quality of your degree, right? This is something that is applicable. Somebody who is taking the certification in the UAE is on the same footing with somebody who is taking the certification in Canada, in the USA, in South Africa, in Beirut, wherever you are going to get the same level of recognition, the same quality as somebody who's maybe in the Americas. Okay, so this is a global standard. So you're going to get a very wide range of opportunities just by having this CFA charter. So what kind of opportunities are we looking at here? Portfolio managers, well, in my books, in my opinion, the best portfolio managers are CFA charter holders, research analysts, traders, brokers, risk managers, financial advisors, corporate financial analysts, equity analysts, investment bankers, the cream de la cream of these CFA charter holders. This is something that would definitely give you an advantage. When somebody looks at your profile and they look at the profile of somebody who doesn't have that CFA designation, you are definitely at an advantage to that. So this is something that you want to take a look at. So as a certification, what do they do to make sure that the knowledge that you are going to get is relevant, it's up to date? So what the CFA Institute does is it brings together practitioners, policymakers, experts, instructors, just to make sure that we are able to get what is currently happening. What was happening in 2018, for example, before the pandemic, is very different from what's happening right now. There's been so many changes in the accounting standards, in the GAAP standards, in the US SEC requirements, regulations. So these are regularly updated so that you are able to get the most relevant the most relevant qualification or the most relevant understanding of what's happening in the industry. So how we look at certifications, for example, is when a person has a driver's license, okay? This is the best example that I like to make use of. There's two levels. If you've taken your driver's license, you know that there's the theory aspect, right? I would like to look at, going to college or getting some other education as the theory aspect. You sit for an exam, you get your degree, you get your master's degree. Yay, we are happy. We have proven that we are able to learn, right? Now, a CFA or a certification, a professional certification, This is the driver's license where you then have to go and do the road test and prove yourself on the ground that you do know what you're talking about. So if somebody asks you for your vehicle and you ask them, hey, do you have a license? And they show you that, hey, this is my UAE license. You do not have to question or to show them, okay, this is the parking brake, this is the drive mode, this is how you reverse. We know that that's out of the way, right? Because they have a certification, they've proven on the ground that they're able to do that. So this is the same thing with the CFA, with the CFA training program. This is a license for investment. So once you have that, we know that you understand the basics. If it's calculating your amortization, if it's project management, if it's portfolio management, you are able to calculate your betas and the likes. This is something that we expect as a basic. If there's some other special features, this is something that we will expect that you will be able to master because you have the basic license. So this is the license that shows you that as Ali, you are an expert. Already, you are starting at a better footing. You can already negotiate for a better salary than somebody who doesn't have this certification. So the feedback that candidates have after taking this exam, 97% are happy with how comprehensive the knowledge, the content, how relevant it is to the current market demands and requirements. Now, a lot of these candidates are people that are already in the investment career path. So they have an understanding of what is expected of them, right? And 95% can testify to the validity or how current the practices that they will be taught are to the real world applications, okay? And 84% of the candidates feel that the subject material is relevant. Hopefully the other 16% think that it goes a little bit extra. It provides them with additional knowledge, right? But we are very happy with the results that are being shown so far. It shows that uh, the CFA designation is very relevant and useful in this day and age. So what is the process of becoming a CFA charter holder? The very first thing is you need to pass the exams. I know there are a lot of you that are asking, that have got questions regarding the eligibility. We'll get to that in a moment. So for now, we just want to talk about the examination process, the entire process, and then we'll go back and deep dive into your eligibility and the requirements and all of that. So the first thing that you need to do is to pass your CFA exams. There are 3 exams, level 1, level 2, level 3, taken in succession. After that, you need to prove that you already have the work experience. Some of you may come and you already have that work experience, so you don't need to worry about that. Excuse me. And then the third part is you need to be able to submit your reference letter preferably from CFA charter holders. And then after that, you apply to become a charter holder. And then it's easy writing from there on. You just have to maintain your charter holder status and that prestige, be invited for those speaking engagements, be promoted to become CFO or CEO or director positions. These are the things that we are looking at when we're talking about the CFA charter holder. Now, in terms of the educational requirements, there's 4 different routes that you can take to do this. The first route is having a bachelor's degree. Now, this is not specific to finance individuals, which is to say that you can have a bachelor's degree from another certification, let's say a lawyer or an engineer or a technician or IT professional. It's allowed. The CFA Institute will recognize that and they will accept, because what they are looking at is your ability to learn, right? So I think we'd all agree that the experience that you gained when you were taking your college degree is what is most relevant. The information, yes, it's relevant to some extent, but there is a lot that you also need to learn when you get onto the job, right? And the CFA curriculum is very vast and is all exhaustive. Even if you are coming from a different certification or a different background, you have never looked at finance in your life, and this is your first time, you're going to be given all the modules that you're going to need. The Morgan instructors are going to be there to help you, to guide you through the process, to answer your questions, to help you become better, to become an investment professional. So what are we saying here? If you need additional support, we are there to help you with that. If you feel that you can do it by yourself, we are there to provide you with the material that will help you with that. And if you need a little bit of polishing up and guidance and exam tips, we are there once again to help you with that. So the second option is, even if you have not attained your degree yet, but you are working towards it, let's say you are in your third year of a 4-year degree program, you can actually start this, right? But once you take up this, the level 1 examination, for you to proceed to the level 2, you need to have completed your degree certificate, okay? So for level 1, yes, it's fine. You can be in your third year, but after that, you need to make sure that you have taken your degree. And then the third way is if you have 4 years of professional work experience. Now, this is what we call mature entry. Already, you are an investment professional. Maybe you started dabbling with investments for when you were a teenager, and you've worked, 30 years old or something like that, and you have that relevant experience. CFA will recognize that if you can prove your experience, if you've got a letter from your employer, if you're running a company, can uh, they know the requirements, you can share those with them, and you will be able to take up the certification process. Or even if you do have a combination of professional and university experience, that will also help you in your application. Okay, so there are many, many ways. As Morgan International, UAE, our offices, we've got offices in Abu Dhabi, we've got offices in Dubai as well, we've got offices in Alain. We have a ready team waiting for you to support you, to help you. So feel free to get in touch with us, and we'll be able to talk to your specific case if there's something that you need particular support with. Now, about the CFA exams, right? There are 3 levels, like I mentioned. Now, in all these 3 levels, you are going to be covered, you're going to be examined on the same topics over and over again. But the caveat here is that the degrees of difficulty or the levels of emphasis are going to change from each level. So the main topics are quantitative methods, economics, financial reporting, corporate finance. You can see them there. I will not read all of them, but these are the same topics that you're going to be taught at each and every level, right? So what is the main focus here? At level 1, we are looking for the knowledge and comprehension. Do you know your stuff? Okay. Now, this information is going to be made available to you. The syllabus will be made available to you by the CFA Institute. Okay. Roughly, it should be 6 books. Each book is roughly 600 pages. So that's a huge, huge module, but that's why we are here as Morgan International to help you with that. Going over more than 3,600 pages, it's a lot for any professional. It's to be very difficult for most people to go through it. That's why we're there to help you break it down, to take it up in easy bites that you can complete. You know how they say, how do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time. So that's what we are going to do, help you break it down into consumable pieces and make sure that you don't forget it at the end of the day. Level 2, we're looking at the application and analysis. We understand level 1, you've passed the basic, the foundation, you know it. How do you apply it? Okay. You make use of it on a day-to-day basis. And then level 3 is synthesis and evaluation. How do you evaluate what's happening in the market, in the business, in the industry, globally? How do you pair that with geopolitical activities? How do you pair that with economic crisis? All of that. That's what you're going to be taught about. So the purpose of this discussion, we're going to focus primarily on the level 1 um, certification. We do have a class that's going to be starting this 19th of December. So this is something that we are very, very excited about. And the target is to make sure that you are able to take up this examination by the August batch. I do have 1 or 2 people that could not wait for August and they would like to go for the May exam, that is still very possible. And we are working with some individuals like that. But from my perspective, if you want to take a more balanced approach to life and not to cramp yourself too much, go for the August exam. But people are different; they have different backgrounds. So May is still doable. So here's the breakdown of the program. We are looking at ethical and professional certification. Remember, I spoke about this. These are highly valued because once people do not trust us as investment professionals, it will be very difficult for the financial markets to operate efficiently and effectively, which is one of the goals of the CFA Institute. Okay. Then after that, you are an ethical person, you're a good person, you take care of your clients, you take care of your company, you do not put your needs first. We look at, do you know your job, right? And financial reporting and analysis. Here, we're not saying that you have to be doing all the accounting, the bookkeeping. We're simply saying, do you know how to interpret, how to read this, how to evaluate company A from company B? If it's a large organization that you're comparing with a small organization, where is it better to put your money? Is it better to put your money, your 1 million dirham into a large company, or is it better to split it into 5 different small companies where you're going to get better return on your investment? Where is it more secure? We are going to look at your equity and investment, your fixed income, that money that comes every single month. This is a topic that I love a lot because it helps me make sure that I've got a steady schedule of money that's flowing through from my investments, and it's extremely exciting. And you look at your quantitative methods. This is, well, not my favorite topic myself, but for some of you that love numbers, this is where you're going to be playing around with the numbers. Then economics, this is where you'll be able to understand what's happening in the market, what the impact of changes in the exchange rates, the changes in the interest rates, the monetary policy, fiscal policy, how that all comes into play, alternative investments, where else you can put your money, and then your entire portfolio management. So these are the entire breakdown. I was just trying to highlight them in order of their importance or in order of their emphasis when you're taking the CFA level 1. This information will again be shared with you after this presentation, right? Which we are focusing on, is 180 multiple choice questions. You're going to have 2 sessions, one in the morning, one in the afternoon. Previously, you'd have a very big gap between the two because it was about 3 hours each, but now it's been broken down, so you only have 30 minutes break in between. So you are going to have 2 hours and 25 minutes for each session, right? Each session will have 90 multiple choice questions. So you have time to select your answers there, and you're going to have 3 options, right? That you can pick. So the interesting thing with multiple choice is you do not get an opportunity to prove your knowledge. It's either you know it or you don't. So these are some of the skills that you are going to be taught by your instructors, how to be able to uh, identify the correct answer. Some In some instances, I'll just slip in a little tip here. It may be difficult for you to be able to quickly identify. You may be running out of time. Maybe you've got 2 minutes left, and you can see that the amount of work that you need to be putting into this particular question will be very difficult. You can, as a professional, if you have mastered and understood the syllabus very well, you will be able to identify potential answers, the, or the likelihood of a highly probable answer, and do a process of elimination, right? And pick the most probable answer from the questions there. But this is something that will be covered in more detail by your instructors. Okay. So how how do you know if you've passed or not? Unlike some examination that you're going to take that are computer based, you will only get the results at the end of at least 2 months, right? Which is about 8 weeks. That's when you're going to get It might be a little bit less than that, or it might be a little bit more than that. But the CFA Institute is very careful to make sure that they communicate with you. You get communication at the end of your exam that your exam is ended. Do not panic. That's the way that it's supposed to work. You're not going to get your results immediately. First part of the session, first after the first 90 questions, you'll be given an opportunity to take a break. Or if you would like, if you're one of those marathon runners that can run the 20-kilometer, 40-kilometer races, you'll be allowed to continue on to the next session if you like. If you can take a break, you can take your break and you can walk out of the examination room and go and get some refreshments and come back and continue on with your exam. So the level 2, this is when you're going to get a mixture of your multiple choice questions and your vignettes. Vignettes were simply saying that you're going to get some paragraphs or some questions where you're going to be addressing certain problems that you'll be given there. The breakdown of the examination is still the same, 2 hours and 25 minutes, right? And we'll give you more information when you're going to that level. And then level 3 is the same, multiple choice, vignettes, and constructed response, which is an essay. But I wouldn't worry too much about this at this specific point in time. For now, we'll just focus on the level 1 examination process, right? So we've talked about this. Now, 2023, what's happening with the examination? Now, when you look at the 10-year average rate, we're looking at about 40%, right? But this is for the period before 2020. From 2021, there was a sharp decline in the pass rate. So we're looking at the decline. It went down to levels as low as 23%, 25%, 27%. But 2022, the pass rate is going back up again. We're now looking at 37% pass rate in the most recent examinations for level 1. And we expect that, this is going to continue to improve. There have been some changes that were done to syllabus, some major changes, the teaching methodologies. I believe that there was a lot of challenge when some people moved online. It was very new to a lot of people. But as Morgan International, we are very happy to report that we had a lot of candidates, including myself, who managed to take the examination and clear it very well during that same period with these online lessons. So this is something that definitely is going to be of benefit to you. So what challenges have we come across as Morgan International that we are able to advise our candidates on? The volume of the content. So you are looking at this huge syllabus, and somebody who has a background, let's say in financing, usually they say that people who get injured a lot on the job are not necessarily the new people, because the new people are very careful, but it's the people that have been in this industry for a long time, because they tend to relax. They feel that I know this, I've been doing this, I can clear this, right? But the opposite then happens. Towards the exam, they suddenly realize, I'm not as ready as I thought I was. They suddenly realize that, you know what, those people from Morgan International actually had a point. I should have gone to seek their help. I should have spoken to the instructor. I should have asked my questions. Now, here we're talking about those that decide not to get the support that we're offering, we're wholeheartedly offering as Morgan International. So time management becomes an issue. But when you are using the systems that we are going to provide you with, I normally recommend that make sure that you target at least a month before your exam, at best 2 months before your exam, for you to have cleared your syllabus, your studies. And what this does is that it helps you to ensure that you have a buffer. Challenges happen. We are adults, we have other responsibilities, we have families. There will come challenges because we are alive. And sometimes you will not be able to study at the time that you expected to study. This will mean that you will then prolong. your study program, and it helps you if you have a buffer for you to be able to adjust that. And our system will is adaptive, so it means that it recommends each and every day what you're supposed to be studying on this specific day, right? So what this does is it helps you make sure that you do not get any shocks, you do not get any anxiety, because believe you me, taking exams is probably one of the most stressful things that you can ever imagine. So our system and our instructors and our scheduling, it helps you take away all that anxiety. It helps you identify the gaps that you need to close in order for you to be able to prepare well for the examination. Also, staying motivated over a period of 6 months can be a challenge for some candidates, because when you get started, you are you are so excited, you have a target in mind, but keeping that persistently is going to be a challenge. So that's where we step in with our instructors and our team of colleagues, continually checking up on you, helping you. You know, you can take a horse to the river or a donkey to the river, but you cannot make it drink. So it's up to you how badly you want this. You need to always remember why you started. Our system is going to be there to support you. Our instructors and our personnel will be there to support you, but it's up to you to push yourself. So make sure that you make use of your study time efficiently. CFA is not a novel. I repeat, the CFA is not a novel and is not to be treated as such. You will need to make sure that not you are not taking notes, you are not just reading, but you are practicing, you are attempting questions. That is one of the most important things that I would like to encourage you after each study session, after module. Make sure that you answer the questions. Do not be stressed if after 2, 3 modules you do not necessarily remember everything in the first module. That happens to everybody. That does not mean that you're not going to pass, but our experience is that you need to go through at least 3 different cycles, right? The first cycle is just to get an overview and understanding of this material, which is what we recommend for you to do before you get into the class. Browse through the notes, jot down some questions that you want to ask your instructor, okay? If you can, attempt 1 or 2 questions and then attend the class for the review session so that you can go over what you studied. We will give you all the topics that are going to be covered in the classes, and then at the end of the day, you will be able to prepare sufficiently. Then after the class, you go through the iterative process of revision, going through those same notes again. If you still have some gray areas, you can take note of those questions. Either immediately ask your instructor on the platforms that they will have provided, or you hold the question until the next class and you can ask it before the class begins or after the class ends or during the class, depending on the complexity of the question, right? So those are 3 ways to make sure that you are well-rounded. Then after that, of course, we are going to have the mock examinations and the various tools that we will talk about later on of the system, right? So our training partner is Captain Schweser, right? They've helped us compile the information, and through our years of experience with our expert faculty, we are able to break down this information for you in a way that you will be able to remember, help you understand the tools that you have at your disposal, help you navigate the system, make sure that you take advantage of all the discounts and opportunities that are available for you. So our faculty will be there to support you with that. We have 2 types of the adaptive learning experience. One you'll get on the system that the CFA Institute will give to you, and the other will provide to you. And then the final one is the one that you create by yourself. So you need to make sure that you have an effective study plan in place. And then, like I mentioned earlier on, our material will help you match what to expect in the examination. As much as we would want to have the examination word for word, we cannot have that. but we'll do our very best to match what you can expect in the exam. So with more than 110,000, sorry, with more than 11,000 CFA professionals that have graduated from Morgan International, this and Kaplan Schweser, this is the very best tools that you can make use for um, in your preparation. Okay, so what kind of tools? As you can see, we have so many tools at your disposal. We have these instructor-led sessions. I will not be one of the instructors, unfortunately, as much as I would love to, but our faculty will be able to give you the instruction, preferably. The good thing about Morgan International is we have a huge Arabic speaking faculty. So cheers from all the Arabic speaking candidates on this presentation. So you will be able to engage them in your native dialect. You'll be able to ask your questions freely. You'll be able to get that in-depth explanation of what is happening in the CFA that you're not going to get anywhere else. So please make sure that you take advantage of those resources that are at your disposal. We have practice examination, module quizzes, libraries, everything that you need. Pre-recorded videos and post-recorded videos, they will be made available to you. Now, it's very important for you to take time out, if possible, every single day. Devote a minimum of 2 hours, at least 1 or 2 hours in the morning, another hour in the evening before you retire for bed, or wherever you feel the most productive. Okay? Make sure that if you do this consecutively for 6 months, of course, you're going to have some breaks here and there, but if you do this consecutively, there's no reason why you cannot meet the minimum requirements or the recommended requirements. The CFA Institute recommends at least 300 hours, right? Personally, I've never come across somebody who has only spent 300 hours, but the majority of individuals that I come across that are able to successfully clear do dedicate a little bit more time than that. And if you do the math, Morgan International is going to give you more than 110 hours. Already, you only have 500 hours left. If you put in an hour before the class, an hour after the class, which is to say that if you study 1 hour in the morning preparing for an evening class, and the next day, if you find 1 hour maybe during your lunch break to revise the session, already you have another 200 hours on top of that. So already 300 hours that's recommended you'd have met. If you put in some more time, very easily you would exceed this recommended time. So previous knowledge, this is very useful. If you have knowledge, that's good. You'll be able to grasp the concepts easier. If you do not have the knowledge, that's still fine. All the material, all the content will be made available, including background information that is not directly taught in the CFA program. This will be made available. Our instructors will be there. If you need special hand-holding, one-on-one sessions with our instructors, this is also available. And each person is different. So I can't say that there's a specific time that you are going to take, but on average, 4 to 6 months study time is what you're going to need to prepare for this examination. Okay. So I will not talk much about level 2 and level 3. So what we recommend, start early. We have a class that's coming up starting on the 19th of December. If possible, I would even start tonight preparing for that class. The sooner you start, the better. You can never start too early to plan for your next examination. You need to create your study plan. You need to make sure that you're disciplined, and you need to make sure that you focus on that. Oh, and one thing that I think I forgot to mention earlier is this handy tool that you need to make sure that you have at your disposal. I hope you can see this clear. This is the you have two options. Either you can make use of the BA2 Plus or the HP. I forgot the name of the HP model. But our instructors, once again, will take you through this fascinating financial calculator. Now, this is a unique calculator because it takes out a lot of the time that you're going to spend in calculating your cash flows, you're calculating your break even, your time value of money. This is a lifesaver, honestly. Using it in the exam room effectively can save you even up to 30 minutes, no lie, of your exam. Can you imagine if you can save 30 minutes out of a 2 hour and 25 minute examination? That's an extra 30 minutes to focus on the important things. So this is a lifesaver. Make sure you master this as much as you can. Ask your instructor questions about how to make use of this. This will definitely help you in your exam preparation. So make sure that you stick on your schedule. Do not fall behind. Okay? If you fall behind, you can even consider skipping those topics and going to the next topic. Make sure that you stay up to date with what the class is doing, and then going back and looking at the recordings, because we will record these sessions. So you can then go back and look at those recordings once again and make sure that you are as well prepared as possible, but do not fall behind. The reason why I'm saying this is there are some questions that you will come up with when you then study the material. So if you are falling behind, you're busy trying to catch up with what was said in the last session, instead of asking questions about your current session, which then takes away the benefit that you will get from quizzing your instructors in a live session. Okay. So this is something that you need to make sure that you take advantage of. So the 3 P's, once again: practice, practice, prepare, practice, and perform. Okay, prepare in advance, practice during, and perform in the exam room. Practice your time management. You're going to get topics from the CFA Institute. Make sure that you understand the learning outcome statement. Now, the learning outcome statement, you've got a huge syllabus, but there are some points that the CFA Institute wants you to understand. These points are covered in the CFA Institute is very, very clear about what they want you to know. It may be a bit complex because of the way some of the matters are presented in the syllabus. You know, when you're getting information from professors and doctors, it's very, very detailed. That's all I can say. So it does help to have somebody who can break it down to you. And these LOSs will definitely point you in the right direction. And your instructors will be there to make sure that you understand it. And take the mock exams. Do not ignore these examinations. I've had some candidates come to me saying that I've taken the mock exam, but I don't feel that I'm ready for the exam. Then I ask them, how are you taking the mock exam? Then they say, okay, I will take 10 questions today. I will take another 10 questions tomorrow. I'll make, say, no, 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 no. You don't do that. You need to make sure that you mimic your exam as much as possible. It's a 2 hour, 25 uh, minute session, 30-minute break, and then another 2 hour, 25 minutes without disturbances, without Google, without your friends, without the children running around. So make sure that you put that time aside, make use of your examining of the resources that are made available to you. And then start with ethics to get the information, and then end with ethics. Review regularly. Do not be shocked if you've forgotten some of the topics. That happens to everybody. We'll provide you with the videos that will help you go through the material once again, and develop a test uh, taking strategy. I will not talk about this, but your instructors will be the very best people to tell you about this. And of course, reward yourself. Don't wait until you get your confirmation of clearing the exam from the CFA Institute. For clearing modules, difficult topics, give yourself little rewards, okay? Go on that jet ski, go to the beach, take time out to watch a movie, hang out with the family at the park. Take all those little breaks in between just to make sure that you do not suddenly wake up after getting the CFA charter and you realize that there is nobody around you anymore. Okay, because this is a very exciting um, certification, and it's very easy to get lost in the process. Okay, and then do not go overboard in one specific area. Make sure that you take advantage of the tools and resources. These are very, very good tools. I cannot stress this enough. Okay, it has the adaptive learning system, which will show you your weak areas. You're able to compare with other your peers how you're faring. Normally, I would recommend try and stay within the 80%, uh, above the 80% mark in terms of how you are faring with your peers. Okay, so if you are in the above the 80th percentile, so to speak, you are in the safe-ish zone. Okay, if you are below that, there's reason to be concerned. There's more work that you need to make sure you solve. So our system will show you exactly where you are. The CFA system will show you where you are. You will be able to interact even with other candidates. The best way is to try and explain it to somebody else. So if you get that opportunity, do it as well. Once again, calculator is critical. Make sure that you use it. And then train to sustain. Practice so that you do not forget. And exam day, get a lot of rest. You will not suddenly master new topics a day before the exam. It's possible, but chances are you'll be pushing something else out of your head if you do that, because there is a lot of content that you need to understand. So basically, this is the CFA study process, how you can get ready for the exam. I know I have spoken a lot, and I hope I didn't lose some of you along the way. And if you have any questions, this is the time I am available to answer those questions. So feel free to ask your questions so that I can assist you with that. Okay, I'm now taking questions. You can type your questions in the chat box. Does anybody have questions? I'm not seeing any questions. Does that mean I was very clear or I was going too fast? Any questions, Osama? Smith? Any questions? Muhammad? Hola? Is everybody happy? Yes, I think I see a question here. How much is the total cost for level one? Okay, uh, just to make sure that we do not get any confusion, because we may have some people that are joining from different locations. We'll be able to answer that question for you in the chat, okay, after the session. So I will share that information with you. But the good news is we are offering you a 10% discount on the tuition, okay, for attending this session. So I will share that code with you so that you can get that background. But in terms of the cost, you need to get in touch with your local office to make sure that you get the cost that is relevant, because there are different prices in each area based on the local tax and expenses that and the instructors that we work with in that specific area. So I cannot give a global answer for this one because we may have candidates from other areas, but I will share that information with you. Let me quickly share the in the chat box. Tell me if you can see the message that I am typing now. I will put it to all the candidates, hopefully. To everybody. The code is UAE 10 NN 005. Okay, so please make sure that you share that code when you are making your request for a quotation so that you can get the discounted price on that. All right. Okay, the registration and examination fees. Now, the the initial cost for the CFA is 300 US dollars, which is what you are going to need to pay for you to be able to take up the examination. So the file opening is 300 US dollars. Then after that, it depends on when you take up the examination. The first cost is 900 US dollars to take up the examination. Okay, this is the what they call the early bird. And then after that, you need to pay about 1,200 US dollars if you miss the early bird window. So it's always beneficial for you to take up during to book your exam. And what I recommend for most candidates is book your exam first, right? Like we're talking about the August examination, so that you get the dates that you want, okay? And preferably as late as possible so that you have enough revision time. You never know what happens in between. So after that, make sure that you book your examination during the time at which your attention span is sharpest. Okay. I know my attention span is extremely sharp from, I think, around 8 a.m. till 12 p.m. And then from there, I go down a bit and then it comes back up again. So it's best for you to take your examination when your attention span is highest. That way you can make use of your brain capacity. All right. So that's $300 for opening your file and $900 to take up the examination, $1,200 normal registration fee. Okay. After that, if you do need to reschedule your examination for any reason, you are given one attempt at that. That will cost you $250. If you don't need to make use of that, you can just simply go for the examination. Okay. Previously, you didn't have that opportunity of just rescheduling your examination. The CFA Institute would just say, just take your examination. If you cannot take your examination, you need to prove it must be critical. It must be life-threatening. It must be something that you cannot avoid. So you need to write a very lengthy explanation and provide a lot of documents. But now CFA Institute is allowing you to reschedule your examination at your convenience. Okay. Any more questions? Feel free to ask questions. These are not paid sessions. You are not going to be asked to give us any money for asking questions, for me answering your questions. You feel free to ask. How many testing windows per year? So there are 4 testing windows for the level 1 examination. The first one is in February, right? You can take the examination in February. The second one is in May. The third one is in August. And the last one is in November for the year. So there are 4 examination windows for the level 1. Level 2 has 3 examination windows. Level 2 has 3 examination windows, and the level 3 has about 2 examination windows. And which once again brings us back to the main topic of today's discussion. In prior years, you could only take your examination maybe once a year, but now you have that opportunity to take your exam up to 4 times a year. So this is very much to your advantage. Okay. So I'll take one more question if there's any more questions, and I think we'll call it a wrap for today. For more questions, feel free to get in touch with us. I'll take one more questions if there are any more questions. Going once, going twice, and 3 times. Okay, thank you so much for your participation and for your attendance. We appreciate you, and we look forward to working with you going forward. Make sure that you do not lose that code, as it is valid for this session that ends on the 19th of December only. After that, that code will no longer be valid. Okay, so please make sure that you take care of it and you make use of it. Thank you so much for attending. This is Nelson, and we look forward to working with you. Have a good day.